他说你知道咱北京现在有多少网警每天就是干这份活的吗？我说有多少个人？他说25000人。我说我操！我说民警同志，25000人就负责监控老百姓手机里的聊天记录。他说你以为呢？我们的系统是有大数据监控的，一旦你涉及到敏感词，就立刻推送到我们人工部门。我们人工部门经审查之后，决定是对你采取什么样的措施。有25000人此刻在干着这份工作。
25,000 Beijing cyber police monitors citizens' phones. Xi Jinping spends 1 trillion yuan each year to create a panoramic prison. Since coming to power, China's national leader Xi Jinping has imposed stricter control at all levels of Chinese society. The annual funds for maintaining stability are now greater than the defense budget. A special cyber police force was established to monitor citizens using chat keywords, leading to many outspoken netizens being punished for their speech, a phenomenon colloquially known as being invited for tea. This continuous upgrade of public control reflects the increasing insecurity of the Chinese Communist Party. In China, having tea specifically refers to the suggestive warning issued by the police to those with differing political views or those who refuse to comply with government directives. To be invited for tea means to be asked to have a conversation with the police. This video tells the story of a young man from Beijing who was invited for tea. The person involved in the video, Xia He, has now immigrated to Japan. The incident took place in the summer of 2021. At that time, former Chinese Premier Li Keqiang said at a press conference after the closing of the National People's Congress on May 28, "There are 600 million people in China whose monthly income is only 1,000 yuan, triggering social attention and discussion." Shortly thereafter, Li Keqiang introduced a policy promoting the street store economy. This initiative sparked a national-wide surge of street store culture that lasted for a brief period, only about 2 to 3 weeks before it was halted by central authorities. Following this, a variety of discussions and rumors circulated amongst the public. Many were astounded that Li Keqiang dared to openly discuss that 600 million people in China have a monthly income of just 1,000 yuan. Some speculated that this statement served as a direct counter to Xi Jinping's promotion of common prosperity, potentially undermining his initiative. The disagreement between Xi Jinping and Li Keqiang unfolded before the eyes of the Chinese people. I remember at that time I was in a WeChat group that was very focused on this issue. The group only had about 6 people, a small group where everyone knew each other very well. We were usually very vigilant because we knew that being vindicated for one's speech is an extremely common phenomenon in China. That day, while discussing the Xi-Li dispute, I did not dare to mention anyone's name. I only said one sentence. As you can see, if the paramount leader is unhappy, the role of Li counts for nothing. Just for this simple sentence, I was invited for tea. That night at 9 o'clock, I got a phone call, which I did not answer. 5 minutes later, they called again, and I thought it wouldn't be a big deal, so I picked up. It turned out to be from the Tianhua Road police station. The police at the station asked Xia He to come to the station. After waiting for more than half an hour, 2 cars arrived and 4 people got out. They claimed to be from the National Cybersecurity Bureau. The police asked him to write down his phone password on a piece of paper and backed up a copy of his phone contents. Xia He asked the police why he was called to the station and why they needed a copy of his phone contents. The police said, "What did you say today at noon? Did you insinuate something about one of our national leaders in the WeChat group today?" The police asked, "When you typed paramount leader, who were you referring to? Who were you mocking?" The police then stated, "These days, you can mention anyone but him. It is definitely a problem if you mention him. Don't you know the times we are living in?" Shahe said, "I know, but I didn't realize the sensitivity has reached this level." The police claimed that they had interrogated 80 people that day, including Shahe. Shahe asked if there were only 80 people in Beijing talking about him. There must be countless people discussing him every day. The police countered by asking if he knew how many cyber police in Beijing doing this job every day. He said 25,000 people. Shahe was shocked and emphasized 25,000 people are responsible for monitoring chat records in people's phones. The police also said that their system has data monitoring. As soon as someone mentions sensitive words, it will be immediately pushed to the manual review department to decide what measures to take against you. The salary of these 25,000 people is an astronomical number each month. The policeman complained, "Do you think I want to do this job? There are so many major cases that we can't solve." We allocate a large number of police forces every day to monitor how the public speaks and who is discussing him again. Don't you think I'm tired? Shahe estimated, if there are 25,000 people doing this in Beijing alone, what about the entire country? I finally know where our country's 1 trillion yuan of annual stability maintenance expenditure goes. Shahe stated that it took the police 5.5 hours to back up the 200 gigabytes of data on his phone. When asked if the privacy in his phone would be leaked, another policeman said, "Do you know how many phones we confiscate every day? We are numb to it." There is an old saying in China, "Trouble starts from the mouth." Throughout the history of the Chinese Communist Party's rule, many Chinese people have been punished for their speech, penalized, and even imprisoned. On May 13, 2023, Li Haoshi, stage name House, an artist contracted under Xiaoguo Culture Media, mentioned during a stand-up comedy performance that he had adopted 2 stray dogs. Their behavior while chasing squirrels reminded him of the 8 words, "excellent style, capable of winning battles." He was reported for insulting Chinese communist soldiers because the phrase "excellent style, capable of winning battles" comes from Xi Jinping's speech. At the 2 sessions in March 2013, Xi Jinping met with all the military representatives of the first session of the 12th National People's Congress. He pointed out the need to build an army that listens to the party's command, can win battles, and has an excellent style. This is the party's goal of strengthening the army under new circumstances. Later, at the 3rd plenary session of the 18th CPC Central Committee held in November of the same year, Xi Jinping officially proposed the Chinese Communist Party's goal of strengthening the army under new circumstances, capable of winning battles, excellent style. The Chinese Communist Army frequently chants this slogan. Subsequently, Xiaoguo Culture was fined 13.35 million yuan, issued a warning, and was confiscated an illegal income of 1.32 million yuan. All performance activities were suspended indefinitely. Li Haoshi was put under investigation by the Beijing Public Security Bureau. The Chinese Communist Party has continuously violated civilians' freedom of speech and privacy rights in the name of opposing incitement to subvert state power and even counter-terrorism. Moreover, the authorities use artificial intelligence technology to consolidate autocratic rule and create a panoramic prison nationwide. As early as November 2013, there were reports of Xi Jinping's speech suppressing freedom of speech, in which he said, "The internet has become the main battlefield of public opinion struggle. If not handled well, it will become our headache. And we should not provide a space for those malicious attacks on the party. All digital newspapers, mobile TVs, mobile media, text messages, WeChat, blogs, forums, and other emerging media should not facilitate them." These comments show the importance CCP places on internet monitoring, the suppression of speech, freedom of the press. The obstruction of information flow are the CCP's primary tasks. Recently, Matthew Johnson, a visiting fellow at Stanford University's Hoover Institution, published a report titled China's grand strategy for data dominance based on Xi Jinping's speeches, CCP government documents, and state media reports. The report states, a careful analysis of his speeches showed that he, Xi Jinping, personally focuses on controlling data and the key core technologies needed to store, process, and utilize data. Some experts analyze that Xi Jinping is almost obsessed with the economic and social impact of the internet big data and even tries to dominate the world with China's data strength. Johnson recently told Voice of America that Xi Jinping's worldview is a cybernetic vision. He said, "The world is becoming more interconnected, but also more controllable. The more control levers China has in this interconnected, controllable world, the more beneficial it is to China, and these control levers can be strategically used to promote China's overseas interests." Johnson's report states that China's party-state system uses data collected by companies in their business activities to establish a database of human individual genomes, identify weak links in foreign economies, mine trade secrets and intelligence from telecommunications networks, manipulate the network information environment, gather information on the characteristics of foreign citizens through social media, and attack journalists who report on China and Chinese companies in a critical manner. On May 2nd this year, a report released by American surveillance industry research company IPVM stated that the Shanghai police are building a surveillance system aimed at monitoring whether there are sensitive persons entering and leaving Shanghai. When foreign reporters book flights or train tickets to Xinjiang, or when Uyghurs arrive in Shanghai, the system will issue an early warning to the police. IPVM stated that these warnings are all achieved through connections to Alibaba's cloud system in Shanghai. According to the IPVM report, the government of Songjiang district in Shanghai announced in March of this year that the project team of Shanghai JEE Technology had won a big data software project from the Shanghai police worth about $350,000, which allows the police to access hotel check-in, visa information, and various data such as entry and exit records. The report reveals that the monitoring system differentiates 26 special factor personnel filtering models for automatic tracking for groups that the authorities consider sensitive persons. These include whether a foreign reporter has booked a flight or train ticket to Xinjiang, and whether a Uyghur from Xinjiang has arrived in Shanghai. That is to say, once these situations occur, the Shanghai police will receive a warning notice. In July 2022, Comparatech, an information research company, released a study estimating that the CCP deployed between 540 million and 626 million surveillance cameras throughout China. This scale not only accounts for half of the world's total number of cameras, but its density is also hundreds of times that of surveillance cameras installed in other large cities abroad. Experts say that images captured by cameras can be compiled through AI technology to recognize faces and walking postures and find anyone targeted by the authorities in the vast sea of people. In addition, Chinese apps such as WeChat, Taobao, Douyin, Baidu, etc. can collect all the personal data and online speech of every Chinese person. The Chinese police can very conveniently retrieve the online speech of every Chinese person as long as they know their ID number. Senior Chinese officials and police can even investigate the person's and relatives' bank accounts and personal property information. Gary King, a professor of political science at Harvard University, attempted to study China's internet censorship system and found that China's internet censorship is targeted at collective actions rather than critical speech. This shows that the Chinese Communist Party government is more afraid of people organizing and taking action, just like during the Arab Spring in the Middle East. When people take to the streets to resist tyranny, it is the greatest force to overthrow the regime. The CCP understands that the internet can quickly mobilize the masses, so network monitoring is an important part of maintaining the regime. The CCP is accelerating the use of modern technology to enslave the Chinese people, and everyone is incarcerated with invisible shackles and handcuffs. According to the control theory of the CCP authorities, with the planned economic model, the entire Chinese society is a large prison, and everyone becomes a slave of the Communist Party. But this would only lead to the continuous accumulation of social grievances and contradictions, and buy one more day for the dictatorial regime to survive.